Hello, class. I did my study, or I evaluated the study on the article Emotion and Executive Functioning and the Effects of Normal Mood States on Fluency Tasks from the Journal of Clinical and Experimental Neuropsychology by Carvalho and Reddy. An overview is that the fluency tasks involve verbal and visual initiation, self-regulation, and cognitive flexibility. Induced positive effect can improve a person's verbal fluency performance, and induced negative effect can increase design fluency on performance. Design fluency is assumed to assess the planning and cognitive fluency in visual patterns. This can be exhibited in mental representation of tasks and producing designs within a time constraint. These abilities can be seen in the left frontal lobe. The lesions on the lobe demonstrate that there are impairments of a person's abilities. This can be shown through performing a CT scan or an MRI. The CT scan is a computerized tomography which passes a beam through the head and measures what is going on in the brain. It can show if lesions are present. An MRI, which is known as magnetic resonance imaging, can do the same, except it uses, magnets along with the beams. Verbal fluency measures verbal functioning. Analyzing the research methodology, the participants completed design or verbal fluency tasks, and examples would be naming various foods within a certain time frame, as well as maybe animals or something within, like say maybe how many animals can you name within 8 minutes. The independent and dependent variables were the participants being of the mean age of 51.19 years. They completed verbal and design fluency tasks and self-reported the effects of the tasks on them. The keyboard was used to rate their emotions. 1 equaled no emotion, and 5 resembled extreme amounts of emotion. There were 2 time frames used. One was same day or just a general time. 30 positive items were presented and 30 negative items were presented. Positive meaning that the person was delighted, negative meaning that the person's response was angry. There were a total of 2 trials conducted, and in the given time frame, the participants responded with up to 240 words. Positive and negative exhibited different aspects within the same constructs. The current study was aimed at building on the emotions and executive functions by determining whether there are associations between naturalistic moods and fluencies in performance. The results showed that participants responded positively and negatively to the information that they were presented with. The positive effects were that there were better verbal fluency performances, and negative effects did not demonstrate that there was any type of design fluency. If we recall, the design fluency assessed the planning and cognitive and visual patterns within a person. Understanding the specific mechanisms involved providing more information about the processes to use and how effective they are. There were strengths and weaknesses in this study. The study only consisted of women in Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts, which is populated with Caucasians, and independent analyses were not reported by various racial or ethnic backgrounds. There is also notations that there is evidence of cognitive differences within race and gender. So you would not be able to gather accurate samples or answers from this because of the population that they used as far as sampling. You couldn't summarize the findings. I would suggest that they improve this study by trying to better validate the responses of the individual. This was self-reported, so you can't always count on the accuracy. There could be over or under reporting or distorted performances because of lack of understanding. You could use an MPI validity scale to measure personalities, which would predict behavior in certain individuals, and the variable response inconsistency scales can also determine inconsistent patterns. They could also include other populations and gender. The lesion method, which is a popular method, is useful in